Commitment 2020, a new poll gives Bernie Sanders another big boost in California just 13 days ahead of the state's primary.
KCRA 3 political analyst and Senior Vice President of Randall Communications, Kevin Riggs, joining us now with the Riggs Report. So how's this competition shaping up, do you think?
Well, it's telling us that Bernie Sanders continues to surge here in California. The PPIC poll shows 32% support for Bernie Sanders, and then he's trailed significantly by the rest of them. Joe Biden in second place at 14%, followed by Elizabeth Warren, Pete Buttigieg, and Michael Bloomberg. So a couple of things about the poll. It tells us that Biden continues to falter. For much of last year, he was the lead in the polls here in California. So if he does not win in South Carolina, it's hard to see how he gets his campaign back on track. Secondly, this also shows that the amount of money that Michael Bloomberg has spent on his campaign, both here in California and nationally, has really been effective in moving him to the front tier of candidates. As you've been talking about this morning, he is now qualified for the first time to be on the debate stage in Nevada tonight, and he's going to be getting a lot of attention, perhaps the kind of attention he might not want, since he's going to be attacked by a lot of the other candidates tonight on his record as mayor of New York. So how he responds to those questions, a big test for him in this campaign.
Well, President Trump turns his attention today to water deliveries in the Central Valley as part of a rare visit to California, one of the more conservative parts of the state. What kind of reception are we expecting for the president?
Well, you're right, and he's going to be getting a friendly audience down there because the San Joaquin Valley, the southern San Joaquin Valley and Bakersfield in particular, are considered to be really very reliable conservative pockets of California. So he's going to have a very friendly audience there. He is being hosted by one of his strongest allies in Congress, Bakersfield Congressman and Minority Republican leader Kevin McCarthy. He's going to be overseeing the signing of a law or an order that would increase delivery of water to farms and to cities, both in the valley and south of the Tehachapies, by rolling back environmental protections for endangered species, particularly certain species of fish. So that is a real flashpoint for Democratic elected leaders here in Sacramento. You can expect the usual tart exchange of tweets between the president and Governor Gavin Newsom later today.
One way to put it, I guess.
Yeah.
Governor Newsom has his second state address coming up a little later this morning. You got to think that homelessness will factor heavily into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Homelessness and housing, two of the top issues on the minds of voters when you look at the polls. And so the governor is going to be talking about why the rate of homelessness has grown in California. He's going to be looking, I think, at talking about different ways of spending money on the problem, perhaps diverting millions of dollars not to cities directly, but to regional programs or regional administrations. That has raised a lot of questions about whether that would be effective. He also may well be talking about ideas to change the way Medi-Cal healthcare dollars are spent, perhaps by using that money to secure supportive housing that would provide not just shelter, but also provide counseling and treatment programs for mental illness and substance abuse. On the issue of housing itself, following that high-profile defeat of SB 50 last year, that big housing bill, he's under a lot of pressure to come up with ways to increase the housing supply, perhaps through zoning. All of that as a means of trying to drive down this high cost of housing in California.
All right, Kevin, thank you so much. Kevin writes political blog. You can read it on the KCRA 3 News app every Thursday.